Hello and welcome everyone. It is the cusp of the Christmas holidays for 2019 and probably my last video I will do for 2019, and I will continue this on in 2020. In this video, in this training, I'm going to do the last in my series on how to use places like Upwork or Freelancer to find quality staff. So this is geared towards employers and other agencies in that context. So I have found historically, and I say this because I work with other agencies through my white label, but I also used to work for agencies as an employee, that many agencies have a tendency to overlook this stage. So the stage I'm talking about is the probationary stage. There's a lot of focus on trying to find the right person, to find the right next ninja, and then there's an assumption made that because they found the right person that this person can jump right into things and automatically know how the agency is run, because they're a ninja, remember, and that life is tickety-boo. But then the agency owner, so what happens is that the agency owner will hire somebody, kind of throw some tasks at them, no onboarding experience, and then keep going because they are busy, and I know that myself. But it really sets up the new employee up for failure. It doesn't set them up for success because there's no onboarding. So back in the days when I used to work at the lab at an acute care hospital, all the lab technologists went to post-secondary school for 2.5 years. Most of us also had a degree of Bachelor of Science on top of that. But in order to be a lab tech in British Columbia, you have to go to school for 2.5 years. And then you write a national certification exam that then certifies us to be able to work anywhere in Canada. So that pretty much sets you up for success, like even with nursing as well. But then once you got hired by the particular lab that you got hired on by, you still then had 3 to 6 months of training. So even when you have that degree of education and training, there is still on-the-job onboarding, and an agency has to realize that as well. So if someone, in my example, has received specific training in hematology, and they still have to do a 90-day probationary period in the hospital lab that they're working on, why do agencies even start to entertain the idea that their ninja can jump right in and run? Usually those who do realize that it flops, and then they get frustrated because they hired this ninja. Well, the ninja is not the problem. The problem is the onboarding. And here's why. Every agency has a different tech stack that must be learned. And even within those tech stacks, it's how do you use it. There are different ways to use ActiveCampaign. There's different ways to use HubSpot. Every single time you have to, as a new person coming in, and I do this a lot in my white label because I'm dealing with, right now we have 10 agency clients and they all do things a little differently. So it takes time to learn those idiosyncrasies. Every agency still has a different approach to marketing, even Facebook ads, how they like to write the copy, how they like to set up the custom audiences, how they want to approach it. Some are very lead gen, some are more branding based, and your ninja needs to learn that. So you got to keep that in mind, and you have to have that in part of your onboarding. And then of course, every agency and every client, even between dentists, have different offerings. And the contractor has to learn that. So let's say you bring somebody on to do Google ads for dentists. Well, every city has little cultural differences, and I've ran campaigns in the exact same campaign, literally copy pasted, 2 different cities. One did wonderful and the other one bombed, and came down to cultural differences. So those are the things that come into play when you're bringing on a new staff, even your ninja. So how do we prepare for success? How do we overcome this? Well, you need to have an onboarding checklist template ready in your project management system. I am working on one that I can share with you, but it's not quite ready yet. But keep that in mind. It is coming. Best way would be to make sure you're on my email list, but definitely follow me on social as well. But the email list will be the best way to make sure that you get that once it's ready. So an onboarding checklist and template, so that nothing gets forgotten. Have all your SOPs written. In a long term, in a perfect world, I'll be able to maybe provide some SOP templates, but again, because of the subtle differences between agencies, it's best that you have all your templates or all your SOPs done. Lots of really good software out there, tech tools to help you build your SOPs. I use Teamwork Spaces because it integrates nicely with the rest of the Teamwork stack. When you hire somebody on, pair them with another team member who meets with them daily for the first week, bi-weekly for the second week, and weekly for the next 2 weeks, to make sure that all the questions are getting asked and answered, and that the contractor feels welcome and nothing falls through the crack. We do this in healthcare. We need to do it in our agencies. It's a little harder because we're virtual, most of us, but not impossible. You personally need to meet with your contractor for the first week, for the first 4 weeks, every week for the first 4 weeks, so that they feel welcome and that they can ask questions directly to you. There will be administrative questions that they need to ask you. Know that your contractor will take twice as long in the beginning to do the work. It takes time. They may be able to do things once they're up to speed for an hour, but when they first start out, prepare and time estimate for 2 hours. Give them half to a third of the normal workload so they don't feel stressed out trying to get all their tasks done, knowing that they'll take longer. And then, of course, implement weekly company-wide meetings so your new contractor feels part of the team. Implement your one-on-ones between your contractor and their direct report, even if that's you. I kind of dragged my feet with my one-on-ones because they are time-consuming and it's not necessarily billable time, but super, super important. And most employees will say that they appreciate them. And if you want to learn more about the entrepreneurial operating system, which a lot of this is based on, go to eosworldwide.com. So, I will be honest with the next part. When somebody is on probation, I don't pay them their full wage. I still have a business to run. I still have profit margins I have to maintain. So I pay them about 75%. You can do anywhere between 70 and 80% in my opinion for the first 90 days. And then once they pass their probation, then they get their full amount. That's common. I don't think that that's unreasonable. In healthcare, you get paid, well, in healthcare, if you are waiting for your certification to come through after you write that test, because it takes about 8 weeks, you get paid a little bit less. But usually the probationary period comes down to benefits. So if you offer benefits, you can withhold that for the 90 days and say that your benefits don't come into play until after 90 days. That's a personal choice on how you want to operate that. So there's a lot to be learned from on how to run your own agency based on other verticals. Healthcare is my experience, my background, so I'm going to pull from there. Before healthcare, I did research at the university, so that's going to be where I pull mine. You pull from yours, but don't try to reinvent the wheel. So you can look outside the box for amazing, amazing solutions to your problems without having to reinvent the wheel. Let me know if you have any comments, questions, concerns about that. You can send me a PM on social media. You can also send me an email to info@agencyalliance.ca, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you about it. So for that, I wish you all a very happy and merry holidays. And it is snowing, the biggest, largest snowflakes ever outside right now. Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that.